For WeAreSC.com, I'm Angel Viscara, joined by Daryl Rideau and Gary Paskowitz here at the LA Memorial Coliseum, where unfortunately today the Trojans did have their Coliseum winning streak, which has lasted 19 games, dating all the way back to 2015, snapped by the Arizona State Sun Devils by a score of 38-35. We're going to break this game down very quickly. Gary, when there was big decisions late in the ball game, you'll mention them right now. What were your thoughts on how those plays turned out for the Trojans and how they ultimately impacted the game?
Yeah, I think there was a couple key plays and key moments that really did impact the game. The first of all, I think you're going to look at about 10 minutes left when USC had the ball down at about the 20-yard line and was faced with either a 4th and long one or originally, Clay Helton had the field goal unit on the field. The fans booed a little bit, and he called a timeout and changed the call, went for it, said where ran it, and came up just a little bit short. I'm not using revisionist history. I would have kicked with 10 minutes left, hopefully taken the points and gotten things tied up and taken my chances the rest of the way. Didn't happen, and that was one moment. Another moment was, hey, Jack Sears put a very nice touch pass down to Tyler Vaughn's, normally as sure-handed as they come, and Tyler dropped one in the end zone. It happens, bad timing for it, but unfortunately it did happen. And then I think you got to look at that punt return by N'Keal Harry. Yeah. It's no surprise to us. SC recruited him hard. We wanted him bad. He's a special player, and he got us on one. And that was a real big moment in the game. So I look at those three key moments of the game really having a big impact.
Yeah, Harry, he's a specimen. I mean, we knew coming to this game he was going to be a problem. Yeah, but Daryl, let's talk about, well, mention someone who you thought was a beast in the secondary, but in addition to that, he chatted a bit about how difficult it was for this team to operate defensively without 3 of their captains, right. And especially in the secondary. What did you notice about what they did?
Well, when you talk about those 3 captains and you're missing the likes of a Cam Smith, a Marvell Tell, and of course a Porter Gustin, you're talking about 3 very productive seniors, veterans on this team that account for a lot of the defensive production and have accumulated a lot of the tackle for losses and sacks. You take them off the field. Now, all of a sudden, in the secondary, you're calling upon a true freshman in Talanoa Hufanga at the strong safety position, and now you're shuffling the deck. We saw a J. Nate Harris move from his traditional slot position into the free safety spot, and then coming off the bench, we saw Jonathan Lockett, a name out of modern day who's been in this program but just hasn't quite felt healthy enough, but was very productive early on, and I thought he gave them some serviceable minutes, recovered a very needed forced fumble. And it was the play. I thought Talanoa Hufanga had an outer body experience to start the 4th quarter where there was a 3-play sequence where he had a tackle for loss, followed that up with a key deflection, and then made a crucial tackle in the open field to get the defense off the field. That reminded me of Troy Polamalu at his best when he played here, and he just was in a zone. Unfortunately, it feels like we may have lost him for the season according to early indications from Clay Helton, but the defense gave up a lot of points, Gary and Angel. I thought that they gave themselves a chance. They were energized by the play of the offense behind Jack Sears. I thought they gave themselves a chance to compete at the end.
Yeah, we'll certainly hope Hufanga can be back for this team soon. Helton reporting it might have been a broken collarbone, so that could be a while. But Gary, the big storyline coming into this one, 3rd-string quarterback for USC, Jack Sears, who obviously came up short in the quarterback competition this offseason. But what did you see from him this afternoon?
Oh, boy, how could you not be impressed, especially what we saw in the second half of the football game. Yeah. I'm going to really look at it. It took Jack a little while to get going, a little bit, not a surprise in there. But, Angel, when you really look at that last drive of the first half and then the first 2 drives of the second half, boy, that changed things around. Those 21 points that USC put up, what was great about it is that it was some varied play calling, the likes of which we really haven't seen in a while. It was some good stuff. It was stuff that we don't run normally, and it was executed well. I give so much credit to Jack Sears. Clay Helton made sure to point out that, hey, in this day and age of so many quarterbacks that they don't get the job, so many guys transferred. Matty Fink last week, and then Jack Sears this week. It's not a surprise for those of us who saw Jack in high school. That's what he does. We always talk about Jack Sears is a gamer. When he gets out there, he knows what he's doing. It took him a little while to get adjusted, but once once he got out there, boy, he looked comfortable out there and he looked like he knew what he was doing. You referenced to Matt Castle to kind of as a comparison. I like that comparison a lot with the way that Jack Sears went out there. So we don't know what's going to happen as far as when JT Daniels comes back or if Jack Sears comes back, but I can tell you what, I think anybody watching this right now is sitting there saying, hey, if we got to go to Jack Sears at any point in the time in the regular season, I'm just fine with that right now, because Jack Sears shows when he gets out there, that young man knows what he's doing. Kudos to you, Jack Sears, for what you did today.
Absolutely.
And when you talk about Jack Sears, keep in mind that he hadn't had a lot of reps with the starters or let alone with anybody, considering he was third on the bench, third on the depth chart. But Gary, the energy that he brought to this offense, running that run pass option, that spread option, what I thought was created magic. It opened up the running lanes for the running backs who benefited from it, but also his ability to make quick decisions and get the ball out. Once he got his rhythm going, like you talked about, to end the second quarter and to start the first drive of the third quarter was magic. But also, when the game was out of hand, after N'Keal Harry ran it back, USC find themselves down 38-28. There was still magic left in his pixie dust because he hit Vons in the corner when a lot of people, including myself, conceded to the loss. But there was still a lot of fight in him. And that's why I compare his energy to Matt Castle's, because of how the team galvanized around Matt Castle, despite him not being the starter. I see the same things in the likes of Sears.
All right, and following the game, Clay Helen mentioned it was a very emotional, a very sad locker room for the Trojans. Gary, this team now drops to 4-4 overall, 3-3 in conference play. Those Pac-12 South hopes get hurt badly by a loss like today's. What should fans look out for and have the outlook? What kind of outlook should they have for the remainder of the year?
Well, I think there is still, I'm still very interested to see where this goes, primarily at the quarterback spot. What are we going to see if it's JT? What are we going to see if it's Jack Sears? I got to tell you, I wouldn't mind seeing more Jack Sears right now. I really like what this offense does. Like Daryl said, a little more of a running element from the quarterback spot when things get in there. But there are some good games left to go, particularly UCLA and Notre Dame. Yeah. And if you're a USC fan and you can't get up for those two games, well then, what are you doing here?
Absolutely. Daryl, some last thoughts?
You know, all in all, there's plenty to fight for. Again, this is a very prideful senior class that's been through it all. They dug themselves out of a gutter to be a part of a Pac-12 representative in the Rose Bowl against Penn State, and that they won. And to see this senior class close things out on a high note, I'd love to see that. There's still a lot of football, a lot of things to shuffle out. But Sears and Daniels gives this program promise that the quarterback position, there's a lot of competition in that room, more than we probably gave it the benefit of doubt.
All right, we'll see how that competition fades out. The quarterback spot's going to be very interesting for the Trojans going forward. But that's all we have here from the LA Memorial Coliseum as USC loses today 38-35. I'm Angel Viscara, joined by Daryl Rideau and Gary Paskowitz. You're watching WeAreSC.